Finding Nemo is a movie made by Pixar Studio, released on May 30th, 2003. It's the second highest grossing movie of that year worldwide, making around $940 million. To this day, it is still the highest grossing original Pixar movie, only beaten by Pixar sequels including its own. Its huge success wasn't a surprise since at the time, Finding Nemo was a technical marvel, showing how good an underwater environment can look using CGI animation. The story elevated the quality of the film even more. It was colorful, funny, yet also emotional, certainly an instant Pixar classic. It is clear that Finding Nemo is an impactful movie in many fronts. However, there is another impact that is better to be summarized within one question. Why is this fish so sexy? There has been a noticeable surge of, let's say, Gill content on various social media starting in 2020. Fancams, thirst tweets, sexy humanized fan art, you name it. How did this happen? Why did this trend come out of nowhere? Or was it really out of nowhere? Welcome to a new series on this channel that I would like to call Sexy Men Bites, where I would investigate men that, in my perspective, qualifies into the Tumblr Sexy Men cinematic universe, whether it's canonized in the Holy Bible or not. Specifically, the one that I find the most fascinating and not covered much by academics, including the topic of this very video, Gill, because I'm not gonna lie, this fish is kinda hot. Long viewers of this channel are definitely familiar with the Ace Files, a postmodern masterpiece if you ask me, and this series is kinda like that, but each character only gets one video because of time constraint. Sorry that I can make a 12-hour documentary about one hot fish. What am I, Quinton reviews? But before we dig deeper into the psychology of Gill enjoyers, let's refresh our knowledge of Gill in the canonical Finding Nemo lore. Gill is a moorish idol fish living in a dentist's office aquarium together with other marine creatures, known as the Tank Gang. After Nemo got caught and placed in the same aquarium, Gill saw Nemo's potential to be the one that freed all of them to the ocean and saved Nemo from the evil monster that was Darla, who killed their comrades in the past. Nemo is small, so he's able to go through the aquarium filter, locking it with a pebble which causes the water to get dirty, which will force the doctor to clean the tank and separate the fishes in bags. Then they will roll themselves out of the window and straight into the harbor.
It's foolproof.
However, tragedy strikes as Nemo almost got killed during the operation. Gill's quick thinking managed to save Nemo's life, but the damage was already done. Nemo was traumatized from the encounter, and Gill had to endure a harsh reality check.
Gill, don't make him go back in there.
No. We're done.
Days passed and Nemo found Gill isolating himself from the rest of the Tank Gang, guilt-ridden from the tragedy. Suddenly, Nigel, a pelican that was friends with the Tank Gang, broke the news about a certain brave fish that is currently traveling across the ocean to find Nemo. Nemo couldn't believe it at first, but when Nigel said that the fish's name was Marlin, he was so happy. So happy that he overcame his trauma and tried to block the aquarium filter yet again, much to Gill's dismay. But this time, Nemo succeeded and Gill couldn't be more proud.
Sharkbait, you did it! Sharkbait, you're covered with germs!
The tank got dirty just as planned and the dentist will take the fish out as he cleans it. Or did he? Turns out the dentist bought a new automatic tank cleaner and Gill's plan crumbled under this new state-of-the-art technology.
Curse you, Aqua Scum! That's it for the escape plan. It's ruined.
Even worse, the dentist successfully caught Nemo to give him to Darla. Thankfully, it seems like Gill's quick thinking skill had dropped on Nemo, as he pretended to be dead so that he could escape through the toilet. All drains led to the ocean, after all. But for some reason, the dentist decided to throw Nemo out into the trash can. Even worse, Marlin just came and thought that Nemo was actually dead in the plastic bag. Marlin left the building not knowing that it was all a misunderstanding. Darla shook Nemo's plastic bag and it was Gill's last straw. He launched himself into Darla's hair to distract her and saved Nemo by flushing him through the sink's drain. Nemo and Marlin of course reunite at the end of the movie and Gill got his happy ending too. Sort of. In the semi-post-credit scene, the tank gang successfully escaped from the aquarium, but now they're stuck in the bag.
Now what?
That's the summary of Gill's plotline in Finding Nemo. He was a fun side character that is universally beloved by fans from the very beginning. But maybe the term beloved when referring to Gill has been transformed in recent years into a more thirsty-related meaning. What happened? People's thirst towards Gill isn't just a new social media trend. It has been a thing since the year Finding Nemo was released. The earliest documented Gill stand can be found on DeviantArt, dated December 9, 2003. In a fan art of humanized Gill and Nemo by Shibu, DeviantArt user My2K commented, "Oh my gosh, my version does not do him justice. He's still really nice looking though, right? I have to fave this, I can't forget it." It's not an explicit declaration, but this person drew fan art of Gill and thought Gill in general is nice looking. I think you get the implication. Perhaps there was earlier evidence of Gill fangirls than this person, but My2K's comment is the earliest comment I could have found after scouring DeviantArt and Wayback Machine, so congratulations My2K for possibly being the Gill enjoyer ancestor.
Something shifted in the universe.
Even though the sentiment isn't new, I have never seen an instance of Gill fans in this era, let's say, unionizing. There's no DeviantArt group, no Archive Life journal, no GeoCities site, absolutely nothing. Perhaps I am looking in the wrong places, or maybe all of the Gill fan sites just magically deactivated before I made this video. But to me, it seems like people would rather keep their Gill attraction to their own. I mean, come on, it's a fucking fish. Certainly doesn't stop fan artists from drawing sexy anime white twink Gill fan art though. Okay, so as I'm editing this video, I actually found a Finding Nemo fan site called Koji's Finding Nemo Mini Shrine. It was last updated on November 17, 2003, so it's actually way earlier than my 2K's comment. There are some fan art of Gill in this site drawn by multiple users, specifically Koji, Maria, and Sachan, but it's kind of a more general Finding Nemo fan art than a full Gill fan art from a Gill fangirl. I forgot to mention this, but early Finding Nemo fandom tends to favor Marlin and Dory a lot. They also love to ship them together. That's why most of the Gijinka I found from this era were Marlin and Dory and not Gill. The fandom didn't hate Gill, but he hasn't reached the sexyman status yet. I know sexyman as a term did not exist in this era, but characters like Snape from Harry Potter already garnered a massive unhinged fanbase akin to Tumblr's sexyman in the very same era, as proven by the Snape wives phenomenon. Murdoch Nichols fangirls were also very vocal, to say the least. I don't know if they were as unhinged as Snape wives, and funnily enough, it was actually a 2D fangirl that got infamous for being unhinged despite that he doesn't have a sexyman title. Okay, I'm getting off topic, so my point is, Gill was nothing like those pre-Tumblr sexyman term sexyman. I have yet to find a Gill fan site. Koji mentioned a Finding Nemo board, and I'm guessing it's the Magical Ears forum listed in the site, but the forum isn't particularly well archived. What are your thoughts? Is my 2K still the absolute ancestor of Gill enjoyer, or will they have to share the title with Koji and their shrine friends? Truly a philosophical question for the ages. Back to the video. Interestingly, the term sexy fish from Finding Nemo bears no singular meaning to early internet users. Again, DeviantArt and many other sites are poorly archived, but on Twitter, along with Gill, people also attributed the term with other fishes like Dory, Deb, Merlin, and Nemo.
Stop talking, go to jail.
In late 2000s to mid-2010s, Tumblr became a hub for fandom activities, replacing places like DeviantArt. As a result, a lot of revolutionary Gill posting happened in Tumblr. In 2015, a Tumblr user named You Can Fuck Osmosis Jones posted this paragraph. You can't fuck the Willem Dafoe fish. This one was a request, and I don't usually take requests, but how could I pass up the inherent comedy of someone hypothetically wanting to fuck a CG fish voiced by Willem Dafoe? It kind of has his face, which I don't like one bit. It's not a face that belongs on a fish if there is such a thing. Unfortunately, it was a sleeper hit as it only got around 2.5k notes, but it just shows that Gill is still viewed as unsexy by average social media user. On the other side of the coin, there was an infamous Tumblr blog named Dirty Disney Confessions, and that blog is exactly what you expect. It's a blog dedicated for dirty confessions about Disney characters. It was a popular trend. I'm pretty sure I also remembered seeing Dirty Gorilla's confessions at one point. Sorry that you have to bear that knowledge. Anyway, there was indeed a submission about Gill in that blog, and it was an experience to say the least. Gill from Finding Nemo is so hot with the scars and Willem Dafoe voice. He's just too much. I just want to turn into a fish and swim down to Australia and lay all my fish eggs on him.
Oh my god. Time and place.
Surprisingly, that was the only Gill submission, at least the one that got archived because the account was deactivated. It also got relatively few notes. There were more horny submissions about Dory and the fucking whale than Gill, and you know what, I'm not going to read this shit.
And you did it at my birthday dinner.
The tide, however, began to shift on May 12, 2017 with a Tumblr post by user Major Ocelot. Hey, it's almost 12 am. How do we all feel about this fish? Smash or pass? Who told you this was okay? Smash. This post got a whopping 130,382 notes, which is a lot. People's perception of Gill started to change, or more fittingly, people began to be more open towards their Gill thirst. As from this date onward, sexy fish from Nemo is used more and more for Gill. Now, I'm sure this Tumblr post isn't the only factor. Perhaps there were other missing links for the sexy Gill posting phenomenon. But from that point, the definition of hot fish from Finding Nemo is narrowing. On April 7, 2020, another user from Tumblr named Bigus Gaudius Patronosus, also known as God, wrote a post about the fascinating skeletal structures of ocean creatures. Look at the beauty of stingray skeleton, the unholiness of pufferfish skeleton, the weird skeleton of that sexy fish from Finding Nemo, the disturbing Walla Walla skeleton. Wait, scratch that, the sexy fish from what? God replied with a profound quote. Judge all you want, but the fact remains you knew exactly which fish I was talking about. You may not like it, but I said sexy fish and that's where your brain went. We both have to live with our sins. And with that post, the Tumblr core ecosystem has shaken. Water is wet, Earth is round, Gill is the sexy fish from Finding Nemo. Sadly, because Tumblr is viewed as a dead website due to certain events, non-Tumblr users' first exposure towards this ideology isn't from that post. They're probably more familiar with this tweet from July 12, 2020. Twitter user BigDaddyWeave_ posted a picture of Gill with a simple caption. Why was he kinda hot? With 70k likes, this tweet sent the app crazy. Fancams were created, such as this masterpiece.
I feel like I'm 21 Savage. I pull up and fuck on your daughter.
Although a lot of them were from suspended accounts. The woke Biden government doesn't want to spread the truth of sexy Finding Nemo fish, I guess. From this point on, it was somehow unanimously decided on all social media platforms that the hot fish from Finding Nemo refers to Gill. In early 2021, there was a second Gill renaissance happening on TikTok. Unfortunately, I can't exactly pinpoint which TikTok started it because I refuse to be on that app and the search function is pretty terrible there, but it happened around late January. The earliest most liked post that I could find was this Rasputin Gill fancam posted by Jeans Pretty Mullet on my birthday, yay! This is actually her second Gill TikTok. The first one was posted 2 weeks prior and it was an even better masterpiece. Worth noting that there were also multiple TikToks from a Gill cosplayer by the name of Stevie Bones, posted 3 days earlier. Someone commented about how dare they make people continue to simp over a fish, which implies that there were prior Gill TikToks before this, but I couldn't find it. Sorry to disappoint. Regardless of the muddy timeline, this new wave of Gill posting was more massive than the last.
Put it in a language you can understand.
I'm just smoking something much louder. She asked me if I do this every day. I said,
Number one hottest fish in Finding Nemo is the fish with the scar.
Alongside comedy videos and fancam, humanized fan art of Gill became a popular trend again. Notable examples include this art from Caraneo on Twitter that portrayed Gill with humongous titties, which reached 76k likes, and this TikTok snippet of a comic by Azrael Santi that reached 2.6 million likes. Let that sink in. I wonder what makes this comic so popular. Oh. Man, people really like fish yaoi, huh? At the end of 2021, Spider-Man No Way Home was released to audience acclaim. One of the most striking performances in the movie is Willem Dafoe, reprising his role as the Green Goblin. Twitter user Criminal Plaza posted pictures of Green Goblin and Gill side to side, showing the versatility of Willem Dafoe's acting career. Another user named Eternal Olsen was shocked that they're both played by Willem Dafoe, but perhaps they worded their shock in an unfortunate way to normal people. The hot fish from Nemo? What do you mean, the hot fish from Nemo? And thus, a legend is born. 396.2k likes. An iconic line that is quite reminiscent of the earlier player of Gill posting. History does repeat itself. From this point onwards, there were so much sexy Gill posting that I couldn't track the most viral one anymore. As I'm writing this, Gill Mania is happening again in 2023 because Twitter user Kirvias posted this fan art of humanized Gill and Marlin, but it was nowhere near the scale of 2021 Gill Mania. One post from 2022, however, stood out the most for me because it was posted by none other than Pixar's official TikTok account. Oh no, not the stock audio. I'm gonna fix this. Now keep in mind that Pixar usually posts TikTok about cool Pixar-related art and crafts, silly kid-friendly popular memes, behind the scenes of Pixar movies, etc, etc. The fact that they are willing to make an exception for this particular quote-unquote TikTok trend is mind-blowing to me. They tagged this as fancam. They knew what they are doing. Unfortunately, because they have a family-friendly brand to keep, they can only use stock audio instead of, I don't know, Charlie XCX song. So their video didn't go viral as it only got around 3.5k likes. But it's the thought that counts. Pete Doctor knows that you, yes you, wanted to fuck the sexy fish from Finding Nemo. The Gill Mania phenomenon is truly a sight to see. It seems like every few years, one post about Gill goes viral and a wave of fish artworks and literature that titillate the senses flood the internet. But how? How can this fish be so desirable by many? After all my research that I have done through the past several months, I have several theories that potentially could explain this phenomenon. To understand the desire for Gill, perhaps we just need to look at the main component of his character, Willem Dafoe. A Pixar animator stated that from the very beginning, they have envisioned Gill to be voiced by Dafoe, hence the facial similarities.
The essence of the character was story-driven and character-driven. When we knew the voice was Willem Dafoe, it really helped us nail it.
Even the concept art looks like him. Well, most of them anyway. Ironically, Willem Dafoe perhaps shared similar arc with Gill in the internet context. I only have anecdotal evidence, but Willem Dafoe used to be not viewed as an attractive man to say the least.
Michael Douglas, say what you want about him, he's a decent looking dude. He can be sleazy, but he's got that leading man charm to him. Willem Dafoe...
You want me to look around the room and tell you if there's someone here that has the same taste that I do?
That's right.
Yeah, this guy, this is not a man anyone wants to watch have sex.
Yeah, kinda like that. He was the butt of the joke, often used in Nicolas Cage-esque gifs, etc, etc. It wasn't until recently that people started to have an unironic fascination for Dafoe. You probably have seen these photos of young Dafoe floating around on Twitter getting over 50k likes. People finally realized that Dafoe is a sexy little man, not even counting the fact that he has a massive bazooka down there.
It is brilliant American literature.
Me personally, well, I have a massive bias for Dafoe. And by bias, I meant I am in love with him. Because of one petty reason. Okay, new viewers, please do not click off this video. Please, just hear me out, okay? He looks like Murdoch Nichols from Gorillaz.
Just as I thought. Trash.
Murdoch Nichols is the final boss of sexy manism in this channel. Mark my words, I will make a 4-hour video essay about him. As of now, my feeble body just isn't capable of realizing the vision of this project in my head. For now, all you need to know is that it's a massive compliment for mortal beings to be compared with him in the looks department of the Cat Love cinematic universe. So, Willem Dafoe is associated with Murdoch Nichols and Gill is associated with Willem Dafoe. Naturally, my brain went bazooka over this fish. However, I think Willem Dafoe also has a lot of attractive qualities that aren't solely a Murdoch Nichols trademark characteristics. For example, his cheekbones, in which not even Robert Eggers, director of The Lighthouse, is immune to its propaganda.
Why would you want all this flab on either side of the screen when you're doing a close-up of 4 of the greatest cheekbones?
Others have written a thoughtful essay about it, such as this article from the Gentleman's Journal. Just look at him. Those knowing, misty gray eyes, the menacing, mesmerizing stretch of a mouth. Cheekbones so sharp, it's a wonder he can fly commercial. Surely a face this remarkable would be considered an actor's greatest asset, but no, implausible as it may seem, Willem Dafoe just isn't that aware of his face. Well-defined cheekbones are often viewed as synonymous with attractiveness. According to a research by Liu et al. From 2019, high cheekbones, along with other characteristics like heavy makeup and wearing lipstick, statistically have a positive correlation with attractiveness. As Willem Dafoe and Gill share facial similarities, his beautiful cheekbones were transferred into the fish and you got a face that one can't resist, especially with the power of Pixar's excellent character design and sculpting department. I mean, this is the Pixar that puts a receding hairline on a fish, as the yearly viral tweet said. They know their shit. Compare the marine designs to the Oscar-nominated movie Shark Tale. Personally, I think Will Smith is a very lovely fellow, but I'm really not feeling his fish sona.
No, sir. No, ma'am.
I guess the Angelina Jolie fish is kinda cunty, but she is out-cunted by Gill in a landslide.
She's a cute girl, cute next to gorgeous. Gorgeous is gonna, devour cute.
There's also the addition of a scar in Gill's design, in which he got from one of his escape attempts.
My first escape landed on dental tools. I was aiming for the toilet.
Toilet?
Scars increase a character's attractiveness by tenfolds. It's a physical representation of one's vulnerability, a trait that might make one think, oh my god, I can fix him. I'll touch more on Gill's psychological state later, but you just need to know that the scar is the cherry on top of his wonderful face. But even more important than his cheekbones is his voice.
Me, your greatest creation.
Let Neptune strike ye dead, Winslow!
Wonderful. Wonderful experience.
Suck him.
Deep voice is associated with dominance and masculinity, hence it is generally viewed as more attractive when it comes to men. In a research by Vivian Zuta on 2006, they have found that a decrease in fundamental frequency or the lowest pitch correlates with the increase of attractiveness. However, it is worth noting that there are other factors that come into play like the length of pauses or hesitations. Regardless, Willem Dafoe, in my opinion, falls into the deep voice spectrum. It also has a raspy tone into it, adding a sense of uniqueness in his voice. In a body of a handsomely designed Pixar fish, it would only elevate its attractiveness. Gill took a lot of characteristics in Dafoe that overlaps with society's standard of an attractive man while leaving out the human imperfections that, in my opinion, also makes Dafoe beautiful but others unfortunately might disdain, like wrinkles or teeth gap. He's truly what peak fish masculinity is. However, in my opinion, sexy voices and sexy scars and sexy cheekbones aren't a good enough explanation for the phenomenon of Gillmania. I mean, Willem Dafoe also voiced this guy on The Simpsons and I don't see anyone thirsting for him. He also voiced this evil teacher and Okay, bad example. But surely there are other characteristics that made men, women, and non-binary swoon over Gill. If Gill is just some cameo fish voiced by Dafoe in the background, I'm sure people will still thirst over him, but not to this extent. His personality and story gave him longevity, and I have just the right character that will help explaining this exact phenomenon. I can't believe I am saying this, but spoiler for Persona 3. Shinjiro Aragaki is one of the most crucial characters in the video game Persona 3. Despite being in the party for a short amount of time, he had a massive impact on the storyline of the game. Death is an important theme in Persona 3, and Shinjiro is the first wake-up call for you about how sudden someone in your life can go. His tragedy changed several characters deeply, and even though one didn't know Shinjiro personally that much, the tragedy still changed his view of life and self-sacrifice. Most important of all, I believe Shinjiro shares several characteristics with the hot fish from Finding Nemo. Characteristics that I would like to call Shinjiro Elaborate Enchantment Scale, shortened as Cs. These characteristics made Shinjiro and Gill to be attractive gentlemen on top of their already attractive design. Why did I specifically choose Shinjiro for this video? I mean, there are indeed a lot of men, including Persona men, that perhaps also fits for Gill's personality. Why Shinji? Look, I just want to talk about Shinjiro, my brand new hobby, okay? Please just let me live. There are 4 layers of Cs, so let's get started on the very first layer, the cold, stoic pieces. This layer represents how these characters were portrayed at their first appearance, which is cold and possibly bitter. Shinjiro barely spoke to the player in the hospital scene and quickly left after a short exchange with Akihiko.
I don't have time for this shit.
In Gill's case, he literally emerged from the shadows and refused to help Nemo out, saying that he could do it himself.
You get yourself in there, you can get yourself out.
However, this layer is also just a thin, fragile facade hiding their true self. When the player along with Yukari and Junpei investigated a Gekkoukan ghost story in the alleyway, they were harassed by people hanging out there. Shinjiro helped the player, not afraid to use brute force despite that he barely knew us. Of course, he returned to his cold demeanor after that. But why did he save us if he's such a loner? What exactly is his motive? Gill wanted to help Nemo leave from the horrifying Darla ownership by escaping to the sea using the aquarium filter plan. But we're still not sure of his motive and his heart. What if he actually views Nemo as a disposable tool? How much of Tank Gang's respect for Gill is actually fear, judging by their initial worry of the plan?
Gill, please, not another one of your escape plans.
The mysterious vibes that both characters have are important to intrigue the audience, and they will be unraveled in the second layer, the nurturing mind. People love bad boys. I absolutely get the feeling as a Murdoch apologist. But how about a bad boy with a heart of gold? Now, I understand that these two characters aren't really the traditional bad boy trope. In fact, I've read quite plentiful of posts from Shinjiro fans criticizing other people that called him a bad boy. But their character designs, along with their first impression, were intentionally made to give a facade of mysterious and broody personality. Maybe not a bad boy, more like bad crush, I don't know. Regardless of the terminology, this layer is all about the kindness hidden behind the tough exterior. Shinjiro's personal life wasn't shown much in the original Persona 3 and Fest outside of the recording room scene, but it all changed in Persona 3 Portable. Okay, technically the manga shows Shinji's caring side first, but it's just not as hands-on as the game. If you take the FemC route, aka the best route in all Persona games period, Shinjiro was portrayed as a natural warrior in his social link. He was concerned with C's instant noodles diet so much that he decided to cook for the entire dorm. Of course, after FemC's gentle push. The entire C's absolutely loved the meal, except for Ken. Let's put a point to that. He was also shown to be very caring for Koromaru. He fed him when Koro-chan was astray, even using his own money to buy the best dog food in town. And in Persona Q, it was revealed that he kept dog food in his pocket, just in case. One of Shinjiro's good deeds that is very underrated, at least outside of MC or Shinjiro Circle in my opinion, is in the P3P drama CD. I guess accidentally shot FemC's sandals to the sky when she tried to loosen them, and unbeknownst to them, those sandals actually hit near Shinjiro's face. He noticed that the straps were broken, so he fixed them with his handkerchief skillfully. Oh, and also he mentioned that he was looking for a stray dog because with all these crowds, he was afraid that the dog will be scared. Why is this man so perfect? Like Shinjiro, Gill also has a soft side. Not as plentiful as Shinjiro in FMC route because Gill's screen time is even shorter than Shinji's, but what was shown was clearly done out of his goodwill, especially for Nemo. Before the filter operation began, he noticed Nemo looking melancholy and comforted him.
You miss your dad, don't you, Shuckbait?
Yeah.
Well, you're lucky to have someone out there who's looking for you.
When Nemo found out that his dad actually did search the entire ocean to find him, he expressed his happiness to Gill, and Gill seemed so happy for him too. Even though he changed his mind about the filter operation, which we'll talk about later, he was still so proud of Nemo when he succeeded. At one point, he talked to him in this incredibly adorable baby-ish voice.
Hey, did you hear that, Sharkbait?
In a way, I feel Gill as like a second father to Nemo. He has the emotional connection to him that we will talk about later and the guts that Gill really respected. He loved Nemo dearly both as a fellow comrade and his own adoptive son unconditionally. The juxtaposition between the cold person we met at the beginning and the extremely kind saint we have now made both Gill and Shinjiro very desirable. A bad boy, bad crust exterior with the heart of gold. What's not to love? That being said, there was a curious deleted scene of the tank gang in Finding Nemo. Gill told Nemo a story about how he was actually from a skull-shaped island living with 4 siblings.
Called Bad Luck Bay. Place is sort of shaped like a human skull.
Cool.
However, Nemo found out that the story Gill told was copied from a human children's book. He made that shit up. I'm so glad it did not make it in the final cut. It would ruin his chance in the dating marketability zone because he just seems like a manipulative asshole as compared to the 100% honest, caring baby girl Gill in the movie. I know Nick from Zootopia is incredibly popular, but at least he lied to a cop. Like, who cares? Fuck Judy Hopps. This Gill, however, lied to a child that just got kidnapped. Very massive difference there. This deleted scene obviously does not erase Gill's kindness in the existing movie. However, behind the kindness, there might lie the vulnerable insides, the third layer in this exploration. We've seen tangible proof that both characters are very good person or fish, but both have their tragic low points in their life. A few years back, there were only 3 members of SEAS, the actual SEAS, not the Hotman classification SEAS, which were Mitsuru, Akihiko, and Shinjiro. They were all still amateurs in the shadow hunting field, especially Shinjiro since he just got his persona caster very recently. On a fateful dark hour, they've done their usual routine. Just seems like a Monday night for SEAS. However, sometimes non-persona users can be awake during the dark hour, as it was the case for a young mother with her son, Ken Amada. Caster suddenly went berserk and attacked the woman, causing her to die on the spot in front of her child. It was a horrifying tragedy that burdened Shinjiro heavily. Shinjiro was trusted in the supernatural world he never asked for and killed an innocent bystander by accident. He quit SEAS, he quit school, and he cut contact with almost everyone he knew. He secretly took persona suppressants, an experimental drug to control one's persona with dangerous side effects, including shortening one's lifespan. But he didn't care. He wanted to bury that traumatizing memory, even if it cost him his own life. And that's why FemC was so complicated to him. Even though he deeply cared for his best friend Akihiko, he was sadly a part of that memory due to the Dark Hour affiliation. He knew what happened. Leaving his best friend in Shinjiro's mind was part of his consequences of that day. FemC, on the other hand, was a newcomer to his life. She didn't know about the tragedy, she just wanted to befriend Shinjiro because she's FemC. Shinji and FemC went out to dinner together for fun and he started to open up to FemC because he was comfortable with her upbeat presence. The most vulnerable Shinji had ever been to FemC was in the 8th and 9th rank of his social link. One day, Shinjiro brought FemC to a dark alley. To FemC, this was the alley where they first met when they were investigating the truth behind Gekko-kan ghost story. To Shinji, well, this was the same alley where he killed Ken's mother, the darkest moment of his life. But at the same time, he met Femsi here too, someone that left such a positive impact on him. When everyone else kept reminding him of the tragedy, Femsi wanted Shinji to just feel the vibes, Fuck it, let's cook a giant feast for everyone at the dorm. A few days later, Shinjiro didn't take her anywhere. He just wanted to sit in the living room and listen to her passionate storytelling, whether it's about ghosts or school gossip. At the end of her story, this happened. Shinjiro already knew that his life would be cut short, even down to the possible date, but he started to second-guess everything as he realized that he felt joy in the last few weeks. Starting from the day Femsi asked him out to dinner, he wanted to cook for his friends, he wanted to see Femsi smile, and most importantly, he wanted to live. Okay, admittedly, Gill's story wasn't as emotional because Finding Nemo is a family-friendly Pixar film, but it was pretty damn emotional too. Like Nemo, Gill had a spiritual connection to the ocean because he originated from that place.
Wow, from the ocean. Just like you, Gill.
Yeah.
He had done multiple escape plans to the ocean along with the rest of the tank gang. Each desperate attempt, he set himself to a disappointing result to the point that his friends were concerned for him. And how could they not be concerned? Those plans at one point hurt Gill and left him a physical scar, a permanent reminder of his failures. But this does not break Gill's spirit. He was still able to swim after all, and that is why the aquarium filter plan was a harsh wake-up call for him because it nearly killed his comrade. Not just any comrade, it was a child that was his only direct connection to the ocean. He isolated himself from others out of the trauma and guilt, reflecting on his actions. Shinjiro's Dark Hour incident and Gill's desperation to return to the ocean made us care for them on a personal level. In a dark way, it kind of gave us toys to play with. Their respective media gave us materials about how they cope with such baggage and how it affects people they love, and it's up to us to interpret such events or quote-unquote play with the toys. Perhaps just consume it in our brain thoughtfully or maybe even create beautiful art based on it. The biggest toys of all has yet to be given, however, which is their sacrificial heart. In October 4th, Ken Amada confronted Shinjiro about what happened on that fateful Dark Hour night 2 years ago, when suddenly the leader of Strega held Ken at gunpoint because he thought he was interfering with his cult plans. Meanwhile, Nemo was in grave danger because of a new cleaning tech and Darla's sudden emergence. Both characters were facing their worst nightmare, a deadly situation that reflected their low points. Unexpected to Ken, Shinjiro shielded him, taking the 2 bullets from Takaya's gun. As Cease arrived, Shinji gave Ken his last wishes. He wanted Ken to be free from the same predicaments that plagued him for his last year of living. Spend time with the people that care about him, such as Cease, as he still have a lot of time to grow.
Give yourself time. Let your anger be your strength. Come on, kid, you're just a kid. You've got your whole life ahead of you, so don't waste it. Make it your own, okay?
A painful end to Shinjiro's journey, but Ken promised to end the vicious cycle per his words. In the Femsi's route, Shinjiro got to live because of a magical watch. Yeah, this was a controversial change to say the least. I prefer if Femsi came earlier to Shinji because she bonded with him in the last few weeks, but I don't think the end message was harmed that much. Femsi helped Shinji out from the suicidal rumination, even though she did not realize it. I think he deserves having a second chance to live, no matter how short it is due to his pre-existing illness. Also, the idea of Femsi dying in Shinji's arms, even though he just got out of the hospital, fight me on this, but that is more tragic than Shinji dying from Takaya's bullets. Come on, at least I need the P3P the ends for Shinjiro cut. Back to the fish sceneries. Gill decided to sacrifice his ocean dreams to save Nemo. He burst the plastic that held Nemo and flushed him into the sink so that he can return to his home. Gill can make another escape plan later if he survived, and if he didn't, well, at least he died knowing that Nemo will find his way to meet his dad, putting a nice end to his search. Thankfully, this isn't Persona 3, so Gill lived, everyone lived happily forever after, yay! Through the sacrifice, they both have shown what length they are willing to protect others from a painful fate. They left a very heartbreaking impression for the audience that rooted for them based on the previous 3 layers. So many interpretations and stories can be created from this end of their journey. Hell, Persona 3 itself already played with the concept with the existence of MC route. Their sacrifice will not go in vain, both in their original media context and to the interests of the audience. And that is how Shinjiro and Gill managed to enchant so many people. Is this a thinly veiled excuse to gush about how wonderful Shinjiro Aragaki is? Well, yes! You're just lucky that out of my desire to quickly finish this piece of a video, I decided to cut a good chunk of this segment. So far, I have laid out 2 theories of why Gill is so appealing. But what is the reason why that appealing part of him reached so many people just recently? Well, humans talk to each other, and right now our form of communication is more advanced and faster than ever. And perhaps the attention can get a little addicting. It's not a secret that TikTok is the hottest new app for Gen Z. Just seems like every day there's a new viral song or trends or shit that is designed to stir discourse. Twitter, oh I'm sorry, I meant X, was also a very powerful site to spread viral trends. Nowadays, it's filled with misinformation thanks to a certain someone. Yourself! But its algorithm is still somewhat functional, I guess. As I previously mentioned, Gill fans always existed, but they never formed into one cohesive group, and I think it has something to do with the dissonance between Pixar and fandom culture. Don't get me wrong, Pixar movies are great, but when you think of the essential fandoms in early 2000s, you think, oh, Haruhi Suzumiya, Harry Potter, Lion King, etc, etc. Those properties had a massive dedicated fanbase willing to make fan art, cosplay, OCs, and so much more. Compare them to a Pixar movie like, yeah, people certainly made fan art or cosplay of them, some even made OCs, but it never really formed some sort of clear fandom hierarchy. Pixar movies just weren't made for fandom creation because the movie itself is a pretty linear experience. The characters did not have similar body shapes in order to create mass-produced OCs, none of them have a catchy song with fun danceable choreography, and the world building doesn't leave much for most online 2000s teenagers to put themselves into. I think Cars is probably the only exception for this because Cars' characters are cars with similar shapes. Very easy to put yourself into. I mean, look at how much this car looks like Carly Rae Jepsen. People who find Gill to be hot stayed in their niche and never got the spotlight because other people were not interested much to dive into the Finding Nemo fandom experience. However, this all changed when social media became more centralized. The centralization of social media led to the death of specific forums and fan sites. Why make separate accounts for a Powerpuff Girls and Disney forum when you can just directly talk to other PPG and Disney fans using the same website? Not to mention that as website UI standard and expectation got higher, a lot of fans couldn't keep up with said standard and abandoned the concept of fan sites as a whole. Communities also became easier to discover. After all, you don't need to type for a specific forum site. You just need to search on the search bar and posts from the fandom you wanted to find will show up. There's also the very mysterious, elusive deity that is the algorithm. In its literal meaning, it's just a set of instructions in computer language. The most simple if conditional programming is technically an algorithm. Look at this Gorilla Song Finder algorithm I made in my first college semester. It's terrible, by the way, it doesn't even recognize titles using lowercase.
Open the door or I'm gonna throw rocks through your windows.
However, what is used by social media is much more complex, often called machine learning algorithm. They are basically responsible for your recommendations. Because humans aren't designed to program every single code for each social media user, humans instead write a set of instructions to help the machine itself create the code for each social media users. Now, the specific of what exactly humans told in the code for recommendation system is trade secret. They're not open source. Hence why algorithm is viewed as a godlike figure, something for us to please and fear. Make something as shocking or clickable as possible and the algorithm will give you blessings in the form of high engagement. People saw the high engagement part and wanted a piece of it, so they make a similar content and you got a viral trend right there. Case in point, Gill. Think of the catalyst of Gill posting throughout social media. It usually started with, "Hey, why is this fish kinda hot?" Some people are shocked that one would say such a thing. Others actually agree about how attractive this fish is. Regardless, both will share the post, either in utter confusion or helping to spread the propaganda, and their followers will see it. It also might show up randomly in the recommended page of non-followers that often like posts that were similar to the OP of the fish catalyst. It will continue to branch, and in the end, Gill is famous for being a sexy fish.
I hope you keep on serving cunt.
TikTok algorithm is especially known to be good at making trends. According to TikTok Algo 101 found by the New York Times, while there is indeed a complex calculation for the For You page, two key factors in TikTok's algorithm game are watch time and retention. Not too different from YouTube, both are important to keep as high as possible so that the sites will get higher profit from longer watch time, so what gives? Well, I think it really boils down to how TikTok is designed. TikTok, I feel like, is a mixture between YouTube and Twitter, for better or for worse. It's a video-based social media that can create instant conversation the way Twitter does. Like, as a light-hearted example, let's take a nostalgia trip to the Star Wars girlfriend guy. This guy looked like he was holding his girlfriend hostage, so why not poke fun at it by making a new POV of him holding a gun? How about the girlfriend's arm POV? His right arm POV? Fuck it, let's make every single POV imaginable for this one TikTok.
Waiting, police are outside of his home, waiting to holding his girlfriend hostage. Police are
fellow Americans. I know we are all aware of the current market situation developing out.
This hostage situation is a Chinese deep state infiltration.
Because TikTok videos have a short length and mostly have low production value, the output of these POVs became so high that the original Star Wars guy is literally the size of an ant compared to all the POVs in just like, I don't know, a week. The low production value is not an insult, by the way. It's actually beneficial because TikTok is meant for short-length videos. It's for quick thoughts. You are not confined to text or images when you want to express your absurd ideas, and the app itself has a built-in editor to make videos with ease. People are more likely to stay in the app longer with higher watch time because it's very easy to insert yourself in direct conversations, as opposed to YouTube where the editor is limited and kind of geared towards videos with longer than 10 minutes, at least before YouTube ripped off TikTok with shorts. I'll never stoop this low, sorry guys. Another reason why TikTok algorithm is so effective in my opinion is the auto-scroll feature. YouTube autoplay feature usually just shows videos from the same creator. The current recommended page has a good variety between subscribe and new channels, but you need effort to search for the content that you might like. TikTok's auto-scroll feature will show you videos about similar topic but with different creators to be more variative. Just one scroll as opposed to scrolling for additional seconds in YouTube recommended page. Not to mention that if the user is bored about a certain topic, which they will know through their calculation, they will recommend random things. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. A lot of people enjoy Gill, but there were a good amount of people that weren't enamored by this fish too.
I would cheat on my husband with this fish. I don't feel anything for this fish. I don't know why you keep showing me these videos.
It doesn't matter if sometimes the Gill propaganda did not work for certain people because it already reached people that believed in it anyway. What used to be a small niche on the internet has been widespread thanks to a little algorithm push. As expected, or maybe not, Gill is not the only random character from a kids movie that suddenly went viral on TikTok out of nowhere. Just months later, Preminger from Barbie as the Princess and the Pauper became a huge TikTok trend.
All the pretty girls walk like this.
the staple of 21st century culture.
It went way more viral than Gill, and it's still going to this day. The most recent viral one, uploaded on July 24th of this year, got 1.5 million likes. This is presumably because of the new Barbie movie, even though Preminger did not appear in it. Greta Gerwig, you fucking fraud. Preminger didn't generate sexy fan art with huge titties, but people are making ridiculous edits with such incredible skill and care. Hell, this one TikToker even decided to have a Barbie villains party that includes Preminger. And what is the purpose? Well, the post-ironification of a fandom creation, of course. The line between ironic enjoyment and genuine love has been blurred. People are competing to make the best Preminger edits, even though they did not find Preminger to be particularly attractive like some anime guy or whatever. They find the concept of Preminger fancam to be silly, hilarious, and get your rewards from the algorithm because of how bizarre it is. They race to make the absolute best edits for said rewards. In between these competitions, a community is formed because they share the same Preminger camaraderie. Irony has become sincerity, but is the algorithm rewards part of why it became a sincere enjoyment? It's definitely nice to see the numbers go up, even if it's not monetized. It feels like you are somehow part of history, because people remember your existence. Your famous posts will be memorized on the internet, at least before Elon Musk destroys it. It just kind of surreal, I guess, that centralized social media has broken down our identity to a bunch of numbers that determine how worthy you are to be promoted on the platform. And I don't mean to look down upon the Preminger girlies because y'all are amazing, chef's kiss 10 out of 10 edits, but this is just reflecting on the state of social media and myself. I am part of the issue. I am making a video about a fucking Finding Nemo fish with God knows how long this video is by this point. I do enjoy seeing Gill's fish face time to time, but is it really worth putting months and months of scripting, editing, props making, and deep thinking for him? How much of this effort is from me enjoying Gill and wanting to tell you about the deep Gill rabbit hole, and how much of it is just chasing the satisfying dopamine intake of the viral potential because it's just an incredibly silly idea for a long-form video? Has my existence on the internet boiled down to chasing clout? Anyway, Marlin and Gill is in love with each other.
Fuck out my way when you see me. I'm rolling with the LGBT.
Marlin and Gill is one of the most beautiful, most well-written LGBTQ+ couple of the century. Is what I would say if Pixar had some balls. You might think that I am delusional, which I'm not denying it, but you just need to see through my Gill-shaped eyes to understand how beautiful their relationship could have been. I mean, right now I have manifested myself into my human physical form in spite of my shitty camera just for this, so, you know, I will talk about some serious shit. Serious gay shit. Marlin and Gill are in love with each other, and I'm here to educate you regarding this important issue. Okay, so let's get straight to the point. You already know who Gill is, perhaps a bit too much. So let's move on to who Marlin is, because we actually didn't really talk about him throughout all this video. Marlin is a timid single dad that was overprotective of Nemo because he's his only surviving child after a barracuda killed his entire family. Nemo also had a bad fin, as we touched on before, so this increases Marlin's anxiety for the well-being of Nemo. He followed him on his field trip and embarrassed him in front of his other classmates. Nemo is sick of the shackles that his dad put him, so he rebelled, in which it resulted in his kidnapping, Marlin's own worst nightmare. So, you have an overprotective dad that went all out to protect his child from even the slightest harm, and we also have a lone wolf that will push a literal child through their limits. I see what you did there, Pixar. Classic opposite attracts couple. Smart wife, dumb husband. Introvert and extrovert. Outgoing asexual and now we have timid and wild parental figures. Love for the ages. Seriously, they genuinely complete each other's strengths and weaknesses. Gill could push Marlin to be more trusting of Nemo, see that Nemo isn't as weak as he wanted to believe, while Marlin perhaps could restrain Gill's wild side a little bit. You know, maybe putting a child into a potentially deadly aquarium filter isn't the most amazing idea ever. They could learn so much from each other and transform into the best version of themselves. So we have the basis of the ship, but where's the evidence? I mean, zero evidence will not stop people from shipping a ship anyway. Look at how fucking massive Jelsa is. But are there hints of blossoming fish romance in Finding Nemo? Yes, there is. When Nigel the Pelican gave the Tank Gang some news about Marlin traveling across the ocean to find Nemo, look at how invested Gill is on the story, fascinated by his bravery, of how Marlin battled with 3 sharks and jellyfish. And near the end of the scene, where the camera focused on Nemo being happy that his dad fought his own fear to save him, Gill looks at Nigel in awe, perhaps thinking about how much of a hunk Nemo's dad might be. This, of course, is kind of low-key confirmed at the Darla fish riot scene. Before Gill threw Nemo to the sink so that he could go to the ocean, he said this.
Tell your dad I said hi.
Gill is fucking gay for Marlin.
Get it right!
One day, when he's free from the restrictive aquarium landscape and finally tastes the ocean that he yearns for years, maybe he can travel the deep sea together with Marlin, meeting so many fascinating creatures and phenomenon. Or perhaps, Gill would have really liked to just do laundry and taxes with him. Of course, Gill and Marlin's love story did not end with the film. The critically acclaimed manga adaptation Finding Nemo Rescue portrays the aftermath of the first movie, where Nemo and Marlin returned to the ocean, but soon found out that the coral reefs were dying. To find out what was killing these reefs, Nemo decided to ask for Gill's help because he's smart and can come up with clever plans in the middle of a dangerous situation as shown in the movie. By coincidence, he just happened to live nearby along with the rest of the Tank Gang. Gill was happy to meet Nemo again, but he was less enthusiastic about the coral reef situation. He was pretty pessimistic about it, which made Marlin kinda pissed off, like, look at that face, there's homophobia in his eye. They eventually found out that the reefs are dying because of some toxic starfish that no fish can touch. Not even Gill has any idea how to defeat the creature, which pisses Marlin off because this is where he lives. He's not going to lose his home over some random starfish. And this is where we started to get some good, juicy Marlin x Gill content. After this end of Evangelion-esque artwork. So Marlin tell everyone the story about how he defeated 3 sharks and Gill was still as impressed as the first time he heard it. Of course, homosexual. He apologized when Marlin asked if he had new plans because he couldn't think of anything. Marlin then prepared for the worst scenario, which is moving the entire citizens into a new reef. This time, however, Gill was the one that said that Marlin needed to be positive, along with Dory, the lesbian third wheel. Gill praised Marlin for being optimistic again after Dory's little speech, and the way they look at each other feels like a seed for a potential romance. Gill had this reassuring look and Marlin looks at him with such tenderness and, I don't know, such a powerful LGBTQ+ vibes going on, you know. Literally 2 pages later, they lost Nemo again. Well, not really. Apparently, he just fell out of the current and Marlin believed that Nemo will be fine because he's a strong kid. Then there's this panel. What's going on in here?
They need to know, like, we're here and we're queer.
Then they fought a giant squid and apparently the squid was actually nice and told them info about the coral-eating starfish. The squid left and then... Oh my god. Look at that eye contact. There's a lot of homosexual tension going on in this panel, you know. I love regular yaoi as much as other people. I love old man yaoi even more. But where's the love for old fish yaoi? And I'm not talking about humanoid fishes where Gill is a sexy, flirty tuxedo man. I want them in their original, unsexy fish form. Maybe one sexy fish. Then they meet a tribe of colorful shrimp that were willing to shoo the starfish away, and that's the end of the book actually. You see kids, that rifts on the ocean isn't caused by climate change, it's actually because of evil starfishes. The next time you see a starfish chilling in the reef, just kill it. Great lesson, Disney. Also, most importantly, Marlin and Gill in this book kinda had an enemies to lovers arc. Marlin at first was angry at Gill for being so pessimistic about the state of his home, then Marlin hit a low point and Gill comforted him. Marlin proceeded to be more open for Gill, to the point that they had the couple shoulder contact, and then yaoi. It's been one of those weeks. Pasti yaoi! This book further developed Marlin and Gill's relationship, and as little as it is, I quite enjoy the queer subtext that is offered here. Dare I say, Marlin and Gill were the first gay Disney characters in my heart. Okay, so we have established that Finding Nemo Reef Rescue is a pinnacle of gay rights. Flash forward to April 2013, a sequel to Finding Nemo called Finding Dory was announced. A sequel is expected to be on par or even top its original entry. So with the Marlin x Gill grind set, I was expecting Finding Dory to be like, I don't know, the Brokeback Mountain of fish cinema. Calamari by your name, if you will. Are those expectations met? Gill and the Tank Gang only appeared in the post-credit scene. Apparently they were still trapped in the bag, covered in their own shit, and in the end, they are back to a close environment. Gill's dream of tasting oceanic freedom is crushed once again. He can never meet Nemo and his hot brave dad, all because of a cheap gag. Disney saw Finding Nemo's potential queer subtext and decided to ban homosexual fish swimming altogether. But what about the lesbian couple, you ask? First, they're not fish, so Second, there's some rando background characters, and third, apparently they're not even gay. This is comparable to Supernatural ending where a gay character confessed to his soulmate, which has been teased for 15 seasons, only to be sent to super hell. This is the most homophobic Disney movie of all time.
Hating on gay people became part of my lifestyle.
But beneath the final product lies a potential story that can indeed top the existing Marlin x Gill canon. Finding Dory's director Andrew Stanton stated that Tank Gang had a bigger role in the beginning, but was eventually cut.
And the reason it got cut was because it ultimately became more about Marlin and didn't support Dory's story.
In the deleted scenes, we see Dory being lost, so Marlin and Nemo traveled across the ocean to find her. By coincidence, they met the Tank Gang. Gill admired Marlin when they first met. I mean, this is the guy that defeated not one, not two, but 3 sharks.
The famous Marlin in the scales.
Yes!
Well,
you're a little bit famous.
Are you kidding? We heard all about you. The sharks, the turtles.
However, Gill slowly realized that Marlin might have not been the daredevil that he expected. When they were about to go to California, Marlin begged Jocks to cut the rope, in Gill's dismay. He also sabotaged Gill's Californian flying fish plan and did some fear-mongering about the danger of boat propellers for the rest of the Tank Gang. Gill is just so fucking done of his antics and finally gave him the talk. Married couple arguments. And finally, Gill, at his limit, gave Marlin a nickname, Dream Crusher, because all he did in the trip was break the Tank Gang's hope and dream of freedom.
You know, you actually do have a nickname.
I do?
You want to know what it is? It's Dream Crusher.
Oh, the drama! Bloodshed! Love loses! Marlin realized that his paranoia had negative effects on other Tank Gang members and agreed to work together with Gill on an escape plan. The escape plan worked thanks to Marlin's encouragement and teamwork, even though Marlin at the end chickened out a bit and got separated from Gill again. Really sad that they didn't have a tender homo-romantic goodbye, but I guess I cannot have everything in the world. I mean, this whole thing was cut anyway. I get the reason behind this cut, but I still wish that the end product still has a little bit of Marlin and Gill trying to work out their relationship in spite of their opposite personalities. Thankfully, after finding Dory's lack of homosexuality, Disney has made huge progress in the gay fish representation. Luca, as you may all know, is a movie about 2 gay fishes discovering Italian queer joy. It's honestly my 3rd favorite Pixar movie of all time because it's just so cute and happy. Alexander Avila has made a masterpiece of a video about it, so check that out if you want to learn the full gay breakdown. The existence of Luca gave me hope that if Disney ever planned to make a Finding Nemo 3, which they probably will because they are milking Toy Story again, perhaps they would tell the story of how Marlin and Gill first met properly. Maybe Tank Gang is finally freed and went back to Australia somehow and met Marlin and Nemo. Nemo was so happy because this was his foster family for a while, and Gill was excited to meet Marlin because he knew him as the shark slayer. After looking at Gill in such a close proximity, Marlin got, bi panic since Gill is such a hot fish, and to be honest, he was quite lonely. Maybe it was time for a new chapter in his life. Suddenly, Gill proposed to Marlin to go on a purely platonic ocean field trip with him as bros, Shark Slayer, and the Tank Gang leader, a fearless duo no match for any ocean creatures. Marlin reluctantly agreed. At night, Gill picked up Marlin and he had a bunch of places to visit, but these places were extremely dangerous and Marlin chickened out several times, pulling Gill back with him. Gill is low-key frustrated. He wanted to do some cool shit, but it was apparently too much for this supposed shark slayer. At one point, Marlin's doing made them trap, and Gill started to express his disappointment with Marlin. Was he going to sabotage him? Was he a fucking fraud? Marlin then told Gill everything about how he was a scaredy cat before Nemo went missing, about the actual story between those 3 vegan sharks, and about how he couldn't save his wife. Perhaps he was indeed a fraud since his survival during his search for Nemo was based on pure luck. Enough, said Gill to Marlin's shock and disappointment. It seems like his new love wasn't meant to be. But Gill still admired Marlin. Even though those sharks were vegan, Marlin still had the balls to face them for the sake of Nemo. Some fathers would give up at this point, but not Marlin. Gill apologized for making Marlin uncomfortable and they stared at each other longingly and homosexually. Marlin broke the stare by asking how long they were gonna be trapped in here, and Gill had an idea but only if Marlin was okay with it, which he was. They finally escaped. Marlin then asked Gill to go to his favorite spot in the ocean, which happened to be nearby. In that place, they can see the stars clearly somehow. I don't know, let me finish my fanfiction please. Gill admired the place. He thought it was so beautiful, and Marlin revealed that he and his wife used to go here often. They shared stories about taking care of Nemo. After a long time, Marlin realized that it was so late. As they swam away, Gill promised he would visit to see Nemo and maybe spend another night like this. Marlin agreed and smiled in an oh shit this gay crush is so fucking real kind of way. The end. I don't know, Pixar probably has a better story in their faults, but I'm just throwing out some ideas, Maybe they can be inspired by my gay fish fanfiction. Anyway, I hope that you all will be educated by watching this video. Educated with the fact that Marlin and Gill are single dads in love with each other. They're real! Even though they're fictional. They're real! I would like to thank Tumblr user Sedient for creating extremely cute Marlin x Gill fan art in their fish form, and they are truly radicalized me into being a Marlin x Gill truther, along with Twitter user Naroim_ for writing such beautiful poetry about this ship. Other than fish yaoi, I am also hoping that you will understand the rabbit hole of the sexiest fish in marine cinema. Sorry if there's a long gap between my uploads. Last semester was rough to say the least. Also, when I'm making this video, I suddenly got typhoid fever, which is apparently a rare disease in the US. I genuinely didn't know that because it's such a common disease here. It's pretty much treatable. I am pretty much cured right now, but just kind of strange that something that is so common in one place is actually rare in others. Also, apparently, I also have scoliosis, the YouTuber disease, so yay, I'm a YouTuber now. Also, then, after my typhoid fever was cured, I played Disco Elysium. And, well... I think it's a pretty good game. To the subscribers that are watching until this point of the video, thank you. I really don't want my channel to be too gorillas oriented. I mean, I love them dear, but there are only so many gorillas videos that I can make, unfortunately. I want my gorillas videos to be enjoyable to make and doesn't cost me to be bitter. Like the 4 hours hypothetical Murdoch Nichols video essay, I suppose. If you are not subscribed to my channel, count your days. But I don't know, maybe check out my other videos. So yeah, sexy fish. Let me know what other sexy people that you want me to analyze in this series. Maybe I'll take your suggestion, maybe I don't, because no, I will not make a video about Sans or Wanseler. They already have enough clout. Give me the bizarre niche rabbit hole sexy man, baby. Like, I don't know, the pawn shop owner in The Simpsons. Also stream Carly Rae Jepsen's The Loveliest Time. Thank you for watching. Bye.